Today's book is called Ada Twist, Scientist. So her first name is Ada and her last name is Twist. By Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. Kind of reminds you maybe a little of Rosie Revere Engineer and maybe Iggy Peck Architect, right? But then this time, she's a scientist. Oh, it's got the graph paper again. I like her cat. This is published by Abrams Books for young readers in New York. Okay. Boy, I think that room is a little messy. Ada Marie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and make her big break with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight and didn't slow down until she conked out at night. So there's Ada Marie, who doesn't talk till she's 3. Does it look like she has a big brother? Mom, she fell asleep on top of the shelves. I like their toys. Did you notice this little squid toy? Do you see which one is your favorite? Kind of cute, huh? Oh, I like the llama. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly, young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree, and she climbed up the clock just as high as she could, and her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why?" Brother's always pointing and saying, it's funny. Why does it tick and why does it talk? And why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? And why are there pointy things stuck to this rose? And why are there hairs up inside of your nose? She started with why, and then what, how, and when. But by bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about, and they kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Her parents kept up with this high-flying kid. Do you see all the questions? Why? What? How? When? Why? Do you think she's been learning about eggs, maybe? Her parents kept up with this high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. What does it do? How does this work? Can I? Why? How does it? Why does it? How can I find out? Why won't it? When will it? What if? Will it be the same? Why? Will it? When? What? Do you notice what the family's holding for her? Do you see those words? There's Neptune and Uranus and Saturn and Jupiter and Mars and Earth and Venus and Mercury. And then she's holding one, Haumea, which is a dwarf planet, but was discovered in 2008. And she's got Eris down here, another dwarf planet that was discovered in 2005. Probably some other things. Oh, Pluto fell down because he wasn't a planet for a while. So she's learning about space. Oh, I think she had Miss Greer too. We should look and see if she's in Iggy Architect's class, huh? Oh, that looks like a fun experiment. Do you see what they're doing? They're surprising the teacher, huh? Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Have you guys ever done the thing where it explodes? If you have a little bit of vinegar in the bottom of a pop bottle, and you can put some baking soda in a balloon, and then put the balloon around the neck of the bottle, and then when you shake it, you put the balloon kind of go like this, and it puts all the baking soda in the vinegar. It kind of starts exploding. It creates a gas, and it will blow up the balloon. It's kind of fun. That might be a little bit less messy than this. It looks, maybe this is Mentos and Coke. I don't know. She's learning something, though. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing. So mockingbirds, do you see the bird up here? Copy sounds. And so she has a gong and a radio and a bell and a phone and jingle bells. Look, from Toy Story. All kinds of things, and she's trying to see what will make the mockingbird sing. But while she was testing those, a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma that curled up her toes. Zowie, said Ada, which got her to thinking. What is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Do you kind of already think you might know? Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true is that the terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. So look at all the things she's testing. There's garlic, cabbage, all kinds of things. Is that coffee beans and cinnamon? Onions, and that looks like octopus legs. I don't know. Onions, did I say that? Eggs, moldy cheese. Look at that one. Oh my goodness. If you look on the other side, there might be a clue. A hypothesis. Let's talk about that. So her hypothesis, she said, one hypothesis she thought could be true was the terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew, which is what she's smelling with her little smeller right there. So a hypothesis is a guess. You have a question. What made the terrible stink is the question. And then you come up with possible answers, that is the word hypothesis. So she thinks, I think it's Dad's cabbage stew, but it wasn't. Maybe it was a boiled egg. Maybe it was moldy cheese. Maybe it was an onion. Maybe it was a fish. So she tries all those things and it's not the same stink. So her hypotheses are guesses. Hypotheses. Oh, she's still going, isn't she? Then zowie, the stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2, it's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne, so young Ada tested. But the test was a flop. And she started again. She wants to clean the cat off so she can start again. Where's she putting it? Should you put your cat in the washing machine? No. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" That would hurt a cat, wouldn't it? Look at the brother. Don't hurt my cat. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now, by the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned, and her mother said, no. What? Ada queried, and her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. And she looked at her parents, and her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once more could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat. And she sat and she sat and she thought about science and Stu and the cat and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked two. And each of those questions led her to three questions more, and some of those questions resulted in four. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in, and she scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. And she started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Where is she scribbling those questions? Do you think that's a good idea? So there's the question. What is the terrible stink? Is it cat pus perfume? Is it cabbage stew? Is it the cat that ate the cabbage stew? And then she reached the end of the hall. Oh my goodness. How much did she write on their wall? We'll get a little closer in a minute. Oh my goodness. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. And they looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. Gawk means you look at something with your mouth open, kind of, like you can't believe it. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall, and the thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. Oh, what would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? And they smiled and whispered, well, we'll figure it out. And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and a heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asks lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. Even the brothers reading a book on figuring out science and how to help them as a kid. Isn't that cool? She's got all the stuff she needs for some experiments up there. Do you notice what her question is? The chicken or the egg? Did the egg come first or the chicken? And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question. And someday, who knows? Do you see what she's smelling? Hot dog with mustard, and everybody's got something different to try to smell that they think might be the stinky smell. And if you notice, there's our answer. There's Iggy Peck, architect. And there's Rosie, I think her name is Greer, engineer. Somebody has that book checked out right now, so we can't read that one yet. I'll have to wait till I get Rosie Greer back. I think it must not be Greer because that's the teacher's last name. Rosie, I don't know. That's a good second grade class to be in, huh? Do you guys know what the stink was? Did you pay attention? Do you remember when she first smelled it? Let's look. Go back. Oh. Do you notice what walked by? And who had their shoes off? So at the very end, on that very last page, if you look, someday she will figure it out. Remember all the jars that everybody thought had their hypothesis in, their possible answer? She's got her brother's shoes in there, so she's going to find out, huh? There's her brother's sock, too. The end. So in a way, we're all scientists. When we have a question, and we want to figure out what it is, we can have a hypothesis. We think up an answer, and we see if it works, right? Sometimes nowadays we have Google, and we can find out answers pretty fast. But some answers don't come fast. You have to try like Ada. Try a few different things to figure it out. So go be scientists. Get some help from parents. Have a good day.